Making a seismic shift in your life is never easy. However, if you truly believe in your heart of hearts that such a dramatic change will bring you one step closer to your definition of a utopia, then making such an adjustment to your lifestyle is just a necessary requirement to achieve your vision and definition of prosperity. According to a recent poll published by Apollo Technical, it revealed that nearly half of all Americans, 52%, are considering making a career switch before the end of the year, and 44% have already taken the plunge. You can add Ronald Kimmons to that very list. He started a marketing agency with his wife. However, something that's always been in the pit of his passions is his passion for writing, and he took the plunge recently, giving the reins of the agency to his wife to pursue his passion and love for writing and becoming a novelist full time. And Kimmons joined me this week to have an in-depth discussion on what it takes to make such a career plunge and do it effectively, and why he wants to inspire others to pursue a career in writing and prove that they can actually make a decent living doing what they love and falling in love again with the imagination of possibilities. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. If you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program, my friend. I wish you a happy Friday, and I'm very excited to be with you to talk to you about your writing journey, your entrepreneurial journey, and everything in between. Great to see you this afternoon, and thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Ronald, I know one of your passions is always been writing, my friend, but you weren't initially sure you could make a career out of it. So I'm wondering if you can tell me all about your passion for writing and how you got to where you are today.
So yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I wrote stories a lot, like in little spiral notebooks and things, and I wanted to be a novelist. I wanted to write novels, but I, even from a young age, I knew that it's kind of hard to make a living as a novelist. Really, some novelists are really successful, but most aren't very successful. And I wanted to have a family. I wanted to have, to have a wife and kids and everything. And I didn't want to have a risky career path, and it's because of that. So I didn't really focus on that initially, though I did in college. I majored in English and Chinese, and I studied a lot of literature and everything, but I still wasn't planning on becoming a novelist. Though I still wrote some short fiction here and there. But when I graduated, I went into I started writing website content and also doing translation for various languages, and I worked at a translation company for a few years. But then, after a while of that, I said, I want to build something. I want to create freedom for myself. I want to grow. And so I told my wife this, and she got on board, and and together we started a marketing agency, and that was in 2016. And we've built that together, and now she's kind of taking over that now, and I'm getting started on my path to be a novelist, and I've already released a novella that's available for free, and I'm going to have my first novel available in January.
Well, congratulations. January is a great month that also happens to be my birthday month. So
It is a great month.
I'm sending you good vibes for your
Thanks.
book release, and I'm sure it'll be fantastic. But I'm wanting to know also, Ronald, your thoughts on having people really follow their passions in life, because I really think that's important, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, I think one of the things about modernity is we get so obsessed with comfort that we aren't willing to take risks, and we end up being unhappy because we don't pursue the things that we really want to pursue because we're so afraid of losing what we have. And I think that that people, in order to be happy, people need to be pursuing something or building something, creating something. If we're not doing that, if we don't have that kind of aspiration, our lives tend to feel kind of empty. Now, I mean, there are many different kinds of aspirations you can have. Your aspiration can be to have a great career, to go up the corporate ladder. Your aspiration can be to build a business, or to maybe to be a movie star or a musician, or in my case, I want to be a novelist. But whatever that aspiration is, you should pursue that, because that gives our lives a sense of meaning. And when your life doesn't have a sense of meaning, even if you're comfortable, you're not going to be happy. I've seen people who have very comfortable lives and yet clearly are not happy. And I've seen people who have very real problems, very real challenges that they have to face on a daily basis, and yet are still happy. And it's because they have that sense of meaning in life, usually because they're pursuing some aspiration that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know for you and your wife, you had a conversation, as you said, about living a more fulfilling life. And talk to me about really jumping into becoming an independent novelist, because I know that there was a lot that went into that decision, and I know it's important to you to be self-published as well. So I'm wondering if you can dive into that for me.
Yeah. So, as we've learned a lot about marketing from having a marketing agency, right? And one of the main things that publishers provide is marketing. But at the same time, even if you go through a traditional publisher, they still expect the writer to do a whole lot of marketing. You still have to do that. And a lot of the time, even if you go through a traditional publisher and you get published, a lot of the time the publisher won't even invest a whole lot into the marketing. And they'll expect the writer to carry a lot of that burden anyway. And so I just felt that from my perspective as someone with a background in marketing, even though I haven't done marketing for this kind of business before, even though my clients that I've had in the past are very different, they have different businesses from what I am trying to build now. And even though I haven't really done organic marketing so much now, our agency has all been focused on ads. Still, I felt that I had enough understanding of marketing so that it didn't really make sense for me to go through a traditional publisher, but to just go ahead and be self-published. Now, I'm still open to the idea of working with a publisher in the future, but if I do, it's going to be coming from a position of strength on my end, where I already have a following. I've already gotten sales, and so any contract that they make with me would be more advantageous for me, and would also include a significant investment into marketing on their side, because they see that what I have sells, and that I already have this following that I've built up.
Yeah, Ronald, there's strength in numbers, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah, and I'm looking to to slowly build that following, and I'm learning. Even though I already, I'm coming from background marketing, I'm still learning a lot about marketing and doing this, because this is a different kind of marketing, right? I haven't gone and done, for example, TikTok videos before. I haven't been on YouTube making videos on YouTube. These are things that I'm now starting to do, because I'm learning it, and it's an adventure. I like the fact that I'm learning new things, that I have to learn new things in order to do this. But my background in marketing has given me a good foundation for that.
Yeah, life is a constant game of learning, isn't it?
Yep.
Absolutely. And Ronald, I know that you're multilingual, and you speak multiple languages. So tell me about that, and sort of the competitive advantage that it gives you and what you're trying to pursue.
So when I was in college, I thought that being fluent in Mandarin Chinese would give me much more of a competitive advantage than it did. I thought, that and I went on and got an MBA, and I thought that with an MBA and being fluent in Mandarin, I'd have all these job opportunities lined up, and that just was not the case. I came to realize that in the business world, speaking Chinese and in other foreign languages is very useful if you're C-level executive. But I wasn't applying for those kinds of positions coming out of business school. And at that level that I was, it really wasn't that helpful. But it did allow me to go into to translation, to work in that area, to learn that industry. And I think at some point in the future, as a novelist, it's going to help me, because I'm going to probably translate some of my work into other languages. Not directly myself. I'll probably have someone else do it for me, but I'll be able to at least go and read the translation that's done, and be able to edit it and proofread it as necessary. And in that sense, it's going to be beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ronald, tell me that you have 5 kids and you live in a house with 17 people by choice.
Yeah.
God bless your heart. Why the heck do you do that, my friend?
I'm from Texas, and my wife is actually Brazilian.
Well, you can stop there, right? Everything's bigger and better in Texas. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, my wife is Brazilian, and we and her sister was living in Arizona. And because we work from home, we can live wherever we want. And she was talking to her sister one day, and her sister was saying, "Hey, why don't you move out here to Arizona?" And we were thinking about that, and we said, "Okay, you know what? Let's do that." So we did. So we picked up everything and moved out to Arizona to be close to her and her family. But then once we got out here, we made the decision for them to come move into our house. And so we have this house, and they moved in, but then once after that happened, my wife's other sister, her husband was graduating from college, and they're looking at what their next step was going to be, and they said, "Hey, well, let's go to Arizona." And so they came to Arizona too, and so they brought their family. So and then also there's my mother-in-law who's also living with us, and we have 5 kids. And then we have a family with 3 kids and a family with 2 kids, and then there's 7 adults. So yeah, 17 people in one house, and it's a pretty big house, so that helps. And yeah, it's fun. Kids are running around all the time. They're kind of in the same age range. We have youngest is have from infant to 12. And my kids go from 3 to 12. And yeah, we got a lot of and we have several in the kind of 3 to 5 age range, and that's pretty fun.
Well, I tell you, the holidays are coming up, and you won't have any shortage of love, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, and the kids are all really excited, eyeing all the presents under the tree and everything. And we have a bunch of adults in the house that have done decoration for the holidays, and yeah, it's pretty great.
Absolutely. And Ronald, just out of curiosity, I'm wondering, what's the cutest thing staying living with all those people? I'm fascinated.
Well, number one, pick good people.
That
don't
happens.
don't live with toxic people. Um, we're all pretty reasonable people who like other people, and we enjoy each other's company. It's pretty normal for us in the evenings once we put all the kids to bed, we'll go down and play a board game or a card game together, all the adults. It's very friendly environment. So that's one thing. Pick good people. Also just be respectful of other people's space. There's certain spaces in the house that are, the common areas, and then there are certain spaces that are more for specific people, and just be cognizant of that and respect that and give people the space they need. And things tend to go pretty well.
And you get a daily lesson in patience and grace, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
And of course, there are small conflicts that happen here and there, but again, we're all pretty reasonable people. So we don't have any explosive arguments or anything like that. That's never happened. We just kind of work it out, and everything's fine.
absolutely. And Ronald, I'm fascinated to know about your holiday wish list this year with Christmas just over a week away now. And what is on your holiday wish list this year, my friend?
Oh, I don't. I I'm struggling to not say something completely cliche here. I just want to see my kids are happy. I just want to see them light up, and I want to see them have that joy of being with family, and also getting cool presents and things, and feeling that they are loved. I Yeah, I think that's what I look forward to. Good food also helps. um, maybe I'll tell my wife I want a Kindle.
Well, coming from a novelist, I'm not surprised. But let's. And by the way, being a dad is the most important job you'll ever have, right?
Yeah. I mean, and these are little people who are going to become big people one day, and the kind of people they turn out to be is largely going to be the product of my efforts now, right? And that's one of the reasons that I went into entrepreneurship in the beginning, was I wanted the freedom to be a dad, right? I do work a lot. And especially when we're building the agency, especially in the early days, sometimes I'd work into the night, but I still had the freedom to say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take the day off. I want to be with the kids. I want to take them to the park, go to Chuck E. Cheese, and I can do that. And sure, I may have to make up for it later, but I can do that. Right now, my wife, she took the little kids out, and she's doing something with them. I mean, she was able to do that because we have that freedom that comes from being self-employed.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ronald, I'm curious to get your thoughts on how we get more people excited to pursue a career in writing and writing books in general.
Well, I want to do that by proving that it can be done. I want to show people that they can make a living doing this. That this is something that can be more than just a hobby. If you just follow the right path, and use the right business model. I think that a big problem that a lot of writers have is they write good books, but they don't really know how to build a business, right? And I have a little more experience in that, and so I hope that that's something that I can bring to the table, and that I can show people that that this can be something real that'll create a real income for them. And I haven't done it yet, but I'm completely committed to doing it. I've right now I've only released my novella, and I have my first novel coming out in January. But I'm committed to show that you won't necessarily get rich, but if this is what you love doing, you should be able to make a living doing this. And that's my goal, is just to show them that it can be done. And once I've done that, then I think more people will follow the same path.
Well, yeah, I always tell people around, if you find something you're passionate about, you don't work a day in your life, right?
Yeah, it's I and as a fantasy novelist, it's fun to sit down at the computer and just write, and just see what comes out of my mind. And it actually I see other writers talking about how they get writer's block and how they procrastinate writing and things. That's not really a thing that I suffer from. I don't really have that problem. I may run into a bit of a block in something that I'm writing, but then I just go and I write something else. I work on something else for a little while. And once I've cleared my head of that first one, then I kind of go back to it with fresh eyes, and then I can keep going. I don't really suffer from writer's block, and in that way, writing for me is never really a chore. I just like doing it. I'm always thinking about something, and because I'm always thinking about something, I can always write about something.
Yeah, and Ronald, I'm fascinated to know the differences, or what you've sort of adopted moving from Texas to Arizona. How have you ingratiated yourself in the culture in Arizona, and what do you miss most about Texas?
I I like Houston very much. I think not a lot of people say that. It's like Houston gets badmouthed a lot. I don't really know why. I liked Houston a lot. Yeah, it's hot and humid, and I understand people not liking that. I'm used to it because I was born in the area, so it's not such a big deal. I really like how Houston is now the most diverse city in the nation. It's more diverse than New York. We have more different nationalities in Houston than in New York, and that's kind of neat. Someone who's multilingual, who's very internationally minded. I enjoy that aspect of Houston a lot. I can go down the street, and I can go to a mall that's literally like everything is in Spanish. It's totally catering to the Latin American market. There's all the music is in Spanish. All the signs are in Spanish. Then you have Chinatown in Houston. You can go and get great Chinese food and also all kinds of things like that. And I saw that aspect of Houston. I like it very much. Arizona, where we live right now in Arizona, we just have a good community. Just the people we interact with, our neighbors, the teachers at my kids' school. They're all just very, very nice and conscientious people. I've had just great experiences here, just within the local community here. My kids are having a great time at their school. It's a great school, making a lot of friends. I honestly don't prefer the weather in Arizona. I prefer Texas weather. I really like the rain. But as far as the people here, I like the people very much, even though it's not as diverse as Houston. My experiences have been very positive for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, as you said, your wife is Brazilian. So tell me, what are some of the benefits of being married to your wife and celebrating the culture as well?
So when I went to Brazil, we had 2 kids at that time. We have 5 kids now. We had 2 kids then. The thing that struck me the most about Brazil is just how warm and friendly Brazilians are as a general thing. You meet people, total strangers, and they just treat you like you're their best friend. And this is a very normal thing in Brazil. and I like that very much. And that aspect of Brazilian culture, that friendliness, that camaraderie, that's something that characterizes my wife. She's very much a people person. She likes being around people, interacting with people, being friends with people, talking to people, and that and just has a joy for life. And in that way, she is very Brazilian, and I love that about the Brazilian people, and I love that about my wife.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ronald, I'm curious to ask you about the proudest moment of your life and how you would define it today.
I don't know if I can give one specific moment, but I think anytime that I see my kids acting in true empathy toward others, that's the feeling that I get. I remember one specific time, my son told me he was at school at lunch, and something happened where I think one of his friends had like I think they had a dessert as part of their lunch. I think his friend like spilled. I think he like spilled water all over his dessert or something. Did something that ruined his dessert, and he was very sad because he wanted to eat the dessert. And so my son gave his dessert to this other kid, and this other kid said he said that's why I like being your friend, because you always, when I'm sad, you always try to make me happy. And just the fact that another kid would say that to my son just makes me very happy. And I see similar things, with all my other kids. I see them in situations where they express that kind of empathy toward others. And whenever that happens, I think that just makes me very, very proud, makes me feel very glad, very happy to see that we as parents have helped to inculcate that sense of empathy in them.
Absolutely. Well, it's an extension of your own legacy, isn't it?
My own legacy.
Yeah, your kids, they're an extension of your own legacy.
Yeah, they're definitely an extension of my own legacy. Yeah, I mean, and I really feel that no success can compensate for failure in the home. If I'm a husband first, I'm a father second, and then I'm whatever my profession is. That's that comes third. My profession, I should love my profession, but it should never take precedence over my family, right? That and I want to build a legacy through my profession, but more importantly, I want to build a legacy through my family. If I'm unable to teach my kids correct principles, anything else that I do will kind of feel hollow.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ronald, my final question for you today has to do with your own personal and professional legacy and how you want that to be defined.
Well, like I said, I want to be defined primarily through how I've managed to influence my kids. As far as through my work, I want to see. I hope that when people read my work as a novelist, that it gives them a sense of hope for humanity and appreciation for humanity. One of my favorite authors is Dostoevsky, and I love Dostoevsky because even though he doesn't have any delusions about humans, and he knows that humans can be terrible, humans can be very irrational, he still loves humans. He still has this very deep empathy and care for other people. And I hope that when people read my work, they can see that I'm not naive about other people, that I have a very clear view of how ridiculous and terrible people can be. And yet, despite that, I still love people and have hope for them. And I hope that when they see that in my writing, that they too can develop that kind of hope and love for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ronald, just very quickly tell me if people want to get connected with you, my friend? What's the best way they can do that?
So my website is ronaldmkimmons.com. And you can go there. And and I also have social links there that you can see me on, like on YouTube and elsewhere. But yeah, you can go there, and actually, if you go there, you can see a button that prompts you to download the free novella. If you want to get a taste of my writing, you can download my free novella, which is a prequel to my novel that's coming out, and it's not too long, so it's not too much of a commitment. But it'll give you a good idea of what my writing is like and whether or not you will like it. So yeah, you can download that at my website and go from there.
Fabulous. Well, Ronald, I want to wish you all the very best in your career to become a full-time novelist, my friend. It sounds like you're off to a running start, so keep running the race, and I want to wish you the best of luck in that endeavor. And I want to thank you for joining me, buddy. Your work in the space and time on my behalf is most appreciated. Have a great weekend, and thanks again for engaging in conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me on.